Imagine a world where a decade-old soundbite could derail international trade. That's precisely what's happening, as former President Donald Trump has declared an end to all U.S. trade negotiations with Canada, citing a controversial advertisement featuring the voice of Ronald Reagan criticizing tariffs. On Thursday night, President Trump took to Truth Social to announce his decision, linking it directly to an advertisement aired by the Ontario provincial government. This ad, featuring audio of former President Ronald Reagan speaking out against tariffs, has ignited a firestorm of controversy. But here's where it gets controversial. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute has accused the Ontario government of misrepresenting Reagan's original message. According to the foundation, the advertisement uses edited snippets from a 1987 presidential radio address presented without their permission. They haven't explicitly stated what's misleading, but they've directed people to the unedited audio on their official YouTube channel, inviting listeners to compare for themselves. You can find the original address here. According to the foundation, the advertisement uses edited snippets from a 1987 presidential radio address. They haven't explicitly stated what's misleading, but they've directed people to the unedited audio on their official YouTube channel, inviting listeners to compare for themselves. Ontario Premier Doug Ford had previously announced a $75 million ad campaign targeting the United States, specifically highlighting Reagan's views on tariffs. See details here. Over youtube.b/HN-TN and air. The timing is particularly sensitive as the U.S. Supreme Court is scheduled to hear arguments in November regarding the legality of President Trump's sweeping tariffs imposed during his second term. And this is the part most people miss. The ad campaign appears to be a strategic move to influence the Supreme Court's upcoming decision. In his Truth Social post, President Trump stated, "The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The ad was for $75,000. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court." And other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Trump has consistently championed tariffs as a key element of his economic policy, viewing them as vital for national security and economic prosperity. This stance puts him at odds with many free trade advocates who argue that tariffs ultimately harm consumers and businesses by increasing costs and disrupting supply chains. Here's a question that's sure to spark debate. Was the Ontario government's advertisement a legitimate expression of political opinion or an inappropriate attempt to influence the U.S. Supreme Court? And more broadly, does a foreign entity have the right to engage in political advertising within the United States, especially when it potentially impacts judicial decisions? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe President Trump's response was justified, or was it an overreaction that could damage the U.S.'s relationship with a key trading partner?